Just 1 second.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. And I'd like to introduce Swami Maharaj to you, if you are not familiar with him. I see many people here who I don't know, so you probably are already familiar with Maharaj. But for those unfortunate ones of us who have not yet met him, I'd like to just share a moment that he is from Austria. And he began, and he actually shares a birth date with Swami Padmanabha. A few years different, but the same date. It's beautiful.
Right.
And you began his journey more than 2 decades ago, where he began as a brahmachari and then took sannyas, and mostly travels and supports the devotees in Mexico and Colombia and Europe as well. So we're overjoyed that you have decided to participate in this event, and we're so much looking forward to receiving what you have to share with us. So thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So yeah, thank you all of you for joining here today with us. And yeah, I was invited a few days back by Padmanabha Swami to join the meeting. He introduced me a little bit on Tadatmya and everything, what was going on. So appreciating his efforts and the efforts all of you to come together in this spirit. So I said yes, of course, if I can participate in some way, it would be an honor for me. And of course, we wrote today somehow lecture, but actually I would rather say it's like a coming together and sharing, because lecture means, okay, there is something which we want to, to make a point to bring through, and that's also there. We have to sometimes talk also in this way. But sharing means also sometimes where we share our experience, and each and everyone can then relate in his own way to these experiences or not, considering that we all have our own previous experiences from wherever we are, our background, of course, by birth, by culture where we grew up, different experiences we went through. And even in Krishna consciousness, when we come to Krishna consciousness also, we go through different types of experiences. Depends where we are, in which association we are, through which dynamics we go, etc. So in this way, of course, talking on this topic, which Maharaj also suggested, so we elaborated a little bit how to formulate the topic, like going back to ABC and considering the importance of the human nature in the process of bhakti. Of course, we're entering there into a very, let's say, relative sphere, as we said before, because everyone has his own experiences, But even though if it's relative, still we can find some things in common, and we can see also some things which are, let's say some patterns. We can recognize some patterns which repeat themselves within the process. No? So when, for us as practitioners, aspiring devotees, when we talk on these, let's say, more human side topics, I always like to emphasize that we should start from a point, or not, we should not forget or leave from our side some basic points which are very important. You know? Because, you know, if we go too much into the psychological side and the human side, it happens that due to some experience which most of the devotees went through over the years, that being neglectful completely with this human side and psychological side, now the tendency is there like to get too much absorbed or leaving out of consideration the other side, which is always like, you know, from one extreme going to another. But we see it's a great necessity is there, and like somehow it's being pushed on us to consider all these things. But of course, we should not leave out of sight, you know, where is actually our path going, and some most important, let's say, fundaments, you know, of our faith. And that means that Krishna is Krishna, and Krishna is perfect. You know? The holy name is always pure. You know? The Guru Tattva is infallible, and Bhakti is independent. You know? So these are the points we should not lose out of sight, even talking on all these other things which we see that the need is there to talk about. You know? So means Krishna is the all-perfect Lord, the absolute truth. You know? Bhakti is independent of any other external circumstance. No? Guru Tattva is infallible. And that the Harinam, the holy name, is always pure. So keeping this in our minds, keeping this in our hearts, means also to have this faith. Because if we don't have this faith, of course, then going into all these can actually not help us for our main purpose, which is actually to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, as we said, by experience, we saw this. That's my personal experience now, I can say, over the years, like being in different communities and having responsibility in different communities in different parts of the world also. There was some time when, maybe some 10 years back or something, I got one book in my hand. It was a PDF, which was called The Unspoken Obstacles from Purnachandra Goswami, where he actually entered into, well, the unspoken obstacles, which was, the name says everything, obstacles which are there, but which usually we never spoke about, like going like deeper into the human psychology, and also considering all these aspects of, let's say, our human part in the process of bhakti. So reading there, also sharing a little bit with the devotees, I had a very, how to say, very notable experience. Was something very notable, that when I would speak about some of these things, because you are in the daily temple life, and you have the regular programs, and then you have the community attending the programs, and you have many new people. So sometimes also the same topics are there, and sometimes some other topics are there. But usually those who have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, usually it's very difficult for them to, or for us, whoever is speaking, to catch their attention. But bringing up some of these things from this book and some of these considerations, I could see that they were so much attentive. Like there was something which was like capturing them. And then in personal dialogue like this, it came up, that they started to feel like, okay, now we are talking something which has to do actually with me, which has to do something with my real experience. So then we entered into these topics, and yeah, I saw, well, that's really a great need there for considering all these things, because otherwise, if we, Krishna consciousness, that's a big field, it's a vast ocean of knowledge, so many books are there, so many topics are there, but not everything is of relevance at every moment for everyone. So it means where things start to become very much interesting, is when we start feeling, okay, this is now of relevance for myself, for my life, for my process, because that's where we are like making real realizations, and where we are actually making real advancement. So, because up to then, you see, there was also always this tendency which we could see, and I had the same tendency. Usually we would speak whatever is on our mind somehow, wherever our interest was focused on. So if you are reading a book, then naturally, you get somehow absorbed. Naturally, the tendency is there to talk about what you are reading. If you are writing something, if you are in such an environment of close relationship with someone where you're getting absorbed in certain type of, let's say, topics and so on, then when we go out, we forget actually that we are talking to different people, to a different audience, where maybe all these topics may not be of relevance. So I use the term like talking over the heads of the people very often, like talking which things which do not touch their realities. So it took some time, to figure this out actually, and also to try to adjust. But of course, when we speak about these things, then we will see that it's very difficult also in any audience, because it becomes like very much specific. It's very difficult to touch on these topics like where you can catch the attention of so many people. In some general terms, yes. Because usually we were accustomed, and this is the, our normal programs, like, okay, this is the preaching program, and then we will speak, and how many people came. Oh, it was a good program because many people came, and like this, no? No? But you see, I read one very interesting comment from Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where he even mentions, if we get too much like focused on this public preaching, he said, then the great tendency is there that we become impersonal. So means impersonal, that we lose this out of sight, that actually we are speaking for the benefit for specific people. So there's this other side, where we speak to a smaller circle, with, let's say, more closer interest, with more similar experiences, and even there's the exchange on a very personal level. I met even gurus, acharyas, who at some point said, I won't give public classes anymore because I'm more concerned now to talk on a very personal level and transmit on this personal level what I feel which is necessary for the devotees to transmit. But of course, our preaching is going on, and it should go on because we are part of the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But at the same time, we should be also aware that we don't lose out of sight, that actually they are individuals to whom we are trying to establish our relationship, to whom we are trying to relate, because we saw this also. It's a practical experience in temple life, especially in big places. Like I used to stay many years in Mexico, and it was a big temple, like compared to other places where I stayed before, like in Europe. In temples like in Mexico, more people go in and out every day than in Germany in a whole month. So, and then you have the restaurant and this and that and public programs. We will have sometimes 50, 60, 70 people during the week in the night for the class, and then the restaurant is there and the boutique and people coming in and out, the books are being distributed and so. And sometimes we could see the devotees even spending together like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, staying in the same place, being serving in the same temple, from so much service, let's say, they had no time actually to get to know each other, to meet with each other on a very personal level. Of course, they will know, okay, his name is like this, he comes from there, some of the experiences and like this, but being fully occupied from morning to night in service in some of the temples were really like busy places, So there was no time to really get to each other, like to meet on a very personal level, and also to learn this type of exchange, because the way how to relate with each other on a personal level is something which we also have to learn. So this tendency, as we said, like public preaching and being occupied into the outreach, what we call, So this bears within this tendency, as we said, like a little bit to becoming impersonal. Like I always remember this one quote I heard, not quote, like about Srila Prabhupada. When the topic came out, why to talk so much about this impersonalists, about the Mayavadis. These are some philosophers, somewhere in India there. But his answer was, no, that's you. So just by saying, okay, I believe in Krishna, and by reading the Bhagavad Gita, and reading, studying our philosophy and practicing, it doesn't matter. Not necessarily we are becoming personalists. We should remember in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is one narration of one devotee who actually came in contact with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and who accompanied Raghunath Bhatta Goswami even to go to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his name was Ramdas Vishwas, if I remember right. So he was very famous, he was very known as a Vaishnava. He was very learned. All the time he was chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. He was well behaved. He knew the proper etiquette. He had some association with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He accompanied him. He came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu like ignored him. So we may think, okay, Mahaprabhu ignored him because he was chanting Ram, Ram, and he was not a Krishna Bhakta or something. But it would be a very like silly conclusion, because the conclusion which is given there, which is explained, is that even though he was following all these practices of bhakti, he said still in his heart, in his most inner world, he had the tendency like of being an impersonalist. He wanted to merge with the Supreme. So in this way, you see, the practice may be there, the philosophy may be there, the dynamics may be there, the knowledge may be there, but to be a personalist means, well, how to develop internally, how to develop our relationships, how to deal and how to relate, with Vaishnavas. So in this way, actually, this is our focus. This is our main focus, because Krishna consciousness means this is the science of relationships. How to relate to the Supreme Lord, how to relate to Guru, how to relate to Vaishnavas, how to relate to everyone else around us. So it's the science of relationship. And there, of course, starts our whole problem, because you see, relationships we see in this world is something which is very, very much complicated. And we come from this world and we come with some previous experiences. We have developed a certain type of, let's call it, relationship culture, way how we relate to each other. And just coming to Krishna consciousness, as we said, doesn't mean that we can give up this way, of relating to each other. Of course, we come and we can change many habits. We can adopt many new habits. We can adopt even a new dictionary, start using new words. We change our outfit, etc. And that's all good. That's all where we start from. But we have to be aware also, that we have to go much deeper inside and to first become aware of all these internal patterns which we bring with us, which have to do with our human experience. And then, also become Vaishnavas, so to say, on all these levels. And that's actually the big task, because this requires one to be really very much honest, very much open, very much sincere, and very much dedicated and surrendered in this process. So we know that, you see, I give this example, when there's the Latin letters and the Cyrillic letters. So some of the Cyrillic letters are same like the Latin letters. Like the C is a S, the P is a R. Like the X is the H. So we may get some text, let's say. But if we pre-assume and we read it as if it would be Cyrillic, but actually is Latin, then we are reading, but we are getting to completely wrong conclusions. So same way, we may be reading Krishna conscious literature, philosophy, but if we are reading it with certain pre-assumptions or from our perspective, let's say present perspective, then we can misunderstand many things. And this misunderstanding of things, will create many types of experiences. That's what we mentioned also in the description. Like if we don't understand properly the human nature, so this can create later on, while we are in the process, some very discouraging experiences within the community and also with ourselves in this process. So therefore, it's very much important to understand this human nature And it's also very much important to understand, the culture of relationship. Because usually in this world where we were born, where we grew up, a very common thing is that people relate to others only in terms of wanting them to be or to behave the way they need them to be. Very common. And this, we are confronted with this from small, actually, as children. As children means, parents, they want us the way to be. And this way they want us to be is the way they think, okay, we should be. Because they are convinced of something, or maybe they want us to be in a way like to recompensate some of their, let's say, internal needs or some of their vacant spaces inside, whatever. So it starts from small, and it starts from the parents. Then, of course, it goes on. We go to school, and then we go to society, and so on. So practically the only experience which we have is that others relate to ourselves, as objects, like objects of their own needs, and objects of their own expectations and criterias, and objects of their own agendas, and so on. If we have, if we grow up in an environment, English-speaking environment, then of course we will speak English. So same way, if we grow up in an environment of a way to relate to each other, which is like this, then we will also develop the same. So practically all of us, maybe with some exceptions, we come from this background. From the background, like always having to consider the expectations of others, which in itself is not something wrong. This is okay, this is there, this is right, because we have to relate to others, we have to consider them, and so on, but not in a, how to say, imposing or even violent way. Like many had this experience, the famous experience at a certain age when one is growing up and one is trying to find his own way, his own personality, his own who he is, whatever. But it doesn't match the expectations of the parents, of the father, Then this famous saying, when the father will, hit the desk and say, as long as you are eating on this table or something like this, you have to behave in this way, or you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to match my expectations. So of course, some do, some don't do, then some have difficulties in not doing and not behaving in this way, but this all creates an experience within us, because as human beings, we have actually only two basic needs. These are very important two basic needs, which from small, actually from the womb, are very clear. If you see the baby in the womb, there are two features which, how to say, which define the world and the life of the embryo, of the child. This is the space within which the baby will grow, and this is the connection with the umbilical connection. So it means we come into this world with these two characteristics which form our life. We need a space where we can grow, and we need relationship with others. Of course, after we are born, then still we grow, and after we are grown up, even physically, still we are growing internally. So we always need this space, like to be, let's say, the personality who we are. But at the same time, we have this need also to to have affectionate relationship with others. And very often in this world means either one way or another way, if the culture of the relationship is like this. Very difficult to find this. I can be my own way and I can be accepted by the others the way I am. Starting from the parents, what to speak from the others. So this is something which most of us, we went through this experience. And this is something that this experience have formed our way of seeing things and also our way of relating to others. These and many other particularities which may be there, without going into detail of all our human experiences, but this is like the principal one. So when we come formed by this experience and we have developed this understanding and this way of relating to others, then now you see, now we come to Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is actually something completely opposed to it. Why? Because in Krishna consciousness, if we are really carefully studying it, if we are really attentive, and if we hear it from proper sources, and if we see in the behavior and in the dealing of those who have realizations, then we will see the culture of relating to each other in Krishna consciousness is completely different. You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning, in the 3rd chapter, because usually when we read, and this is the tendency nowadays, because many books are there and everything is published, and we have read this and this and that, and so the tendency is there, okay, go, learn more, hear more, and we have the feeling if we read more, if we know more, we are advancing more. But if we jump over certain, as we said, like fundamental, basic understandings, then the whole result which can come out at the end may be something actually wrong or even completely opposed. Instead of becoming personalists, we become impersonalists. And within this, we can create, instead of loving, affectionate relationships, we can create relationships which become toxic, or even we can commit Vaishnava parad and so on. So we have to go back. Therefore, we said back to ABC, and to understand this very, very basic, very fundamental things which Krishna explains even from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter. There is in one place in, I think, 33, the verse, he says that everyone, even those who have knowledge, even those who know, they act according to their own nature. And he said, what can be achieved through repression? You see, we have those who know, and we have that they act according to their own nature, and what can be achieved through repression. Means if we become those who know by reading, by hearing, so we can know many things. But this doesn't mean that still we are able to change our innate nature, the nature which we have developed. Like, in this world, everyone knows, this is good, this is not good. But still people have habits which are more stronger than themselves, So they know it's not good to do, but they do. It's not good to smoke, but they smoke. It's not good to eat too much of this or too much of that, but some tendency is there. So knowing things, and these are just like ordinary things of this life, but also for us as aspiring devotees, as practitioners, many things are there which we may know what is right, what is not right, and still we will do. It's something which is stronger than ourselves. So I remember there was one live transmission, like in the 80s. I saw somewhere, devotees have these archives, and one live transmission of from the temple into the TV, national TV in Colombia. So they came to show the temple, and then the devotees decorated everything nicely, and presenting themselves nicely, and they were there also to show like the Vedic culture. They organized, there will be some marriage ceremonies and so on. So they went through the temple and then came to the marriage ceremony there. And then the devotee is explaining, okay, this is the Vedic marriage ceremony, and this means this, and this means that, and this, the purpose of marriage is like this, no? And of course, it sounds very nice, very nostalgic in terms of some Vedic times, And of course, the devotees, they were convinced when doing and entering into the marriage and entering into, let's say, this idea to follow the Vedic culture, if you want to say like this, that they will do it. But then the reality came in a completely different way. Starting from the devotees who were just there in the TV and who spoke. I know them, they're still around. But if you ask them now, what means what means marriage, what means Vedic marriage, what means Vedic culture, they will tell you completely a different thing. Why? Because they went through specific experiences, afterwards, And of course, if you hear some devotees talking nowadays, they speak still the same thing, like 20, 30 years back, And even so many things are evident in front of us, But we still continue like speaking this ideal version. Of course, some will say if you forget the ideal, then, you cannot achieve it, It's not a question of forgetting the idea, but the question is, how to achieve it, What does it mean to really transform one's own being and to really like transform one's own nature, Because as Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita there, what can be achieved through repression, So we may know, but if we only know, but we cannot do, then this becomes like some utopic idea, some utopia, But then if we do, and we know actually it's not favorable, we want to transform, but if we don't know how to transform, then the only thing which we can do is repression. Repression means hiding it from ourselves, hiding it from others, And we saw this also over the years, that you cannot do it for a long time. Like this example is there with the ball. You have the ball and you push it under the water. The more you push it, it will flop up higher, So same way is there with our nature. So in the beginning is there. But the problem is that meanwhile, Krishna Consciousness is going on, preaching is going on, many books are published. In the meanwhile, we think, oh, no, we made the advancement, We know. But we don't know how to change the nature, So then the repression will come. And of course, if you have this environment of repression, of repressing one's own, let's say, human side and human needs, then this will create, in one way or another, very bitter experiences, for oneself and also in the community. Like I met, as we said before, going from one extreme to another. I met one old devotee from Germany. He told me, he was brahmachari and fully surrendered and fully, gave everything and book distribution and so on over years and like this. Then he got a little bit discouraged within the community and so on. So he went back to his home. And then he said he wanted to like compensate all the austerities he did over the years, you know? And that's what he did. The next years he did, you know, he bought big cars, you know, he lived a very opulent lifestyle, so he went into the other side, you know. And then after some time he came back again. Why? Because Krishna is there, faith in Krishna is there, you know. As we said in the beginning, the holy name is always pure, you know. The Guru Tattva is infallible, you know. Bhakti is independent. You know. So if this faith is there, you see, we can go from one extreme to the other, but still somehow we will come back if we come into the proper association where we can like find some balance and find some company and some good instructions also how to deal with this. But as we said, you know, if we only relate on this level like public and, you know, catching the attention of the many and so on, it's very difficult to get and to establish this type of relationships. No? So I distinguished nowadays, if we speak about these topics, you know, just the word preaching somehow sounds a little bit not so, I don't know, in English, how does it sound? No, but in German, for example, it just doesn't sound appropriate for nowadays. No? But we use it and we know what does it mean. No? But I prefer to distinguish now between preachers and teachers. No? Like preachers, okay, they will go and push and do and catch the attention and so on. No? But doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that they themselves have the intention nor the ability to really connect with someone on a personal level. You know, maybe just by their dynamics and their service is not possible, which of course is like this if we consider Srila Prabhupada and his mission and how he had to go through within the 12 years or 13 years which he was preaching in the West, 12 years. So, of course, he could not stay too long, you know, in one place and dedicate his time, you know. He could transmit that he's personally very much concerned and preoccupied with every individual, you know. But he could not stay, you know, just because the time was like this, you know. And this, even by his, of course, we know, special empowerment, it worked somehow because the whole environment was created in such a way that the devotees felt okay. And we know all the stories which we hear from the devotees, how they joined and how they felt there, no? That they, and this is, you know, the important point there. I heard it from many devotees having this experience, you know, completely opposed to the previous experience, you know, not being accepted and always others trying to make them the way they are. They make the experience when they come to the devotees that they were accepted the way they are. So this changes completely the whole, starting from there, you know, everything goes on. Why? Because we know Srila Prabhupada accepted everyone the way he is. Of course, later on, when we see how later on everything developed, how these same old patterns of behavior and relationship in the devotees came up, you know, after this first period of, like, let's say, some magical experience and transformation under the influence of Srila Prabhupada's presence, you know. Then later on, you know, these things started to come up also in the way how the devotees relate to each other, you know, which was necessary and which is a still ongoing process. You know. If we see nowadays, you know, all these topics come up because it's becoming evident that it's necessary to consider all this. I saw one documentary, very interesting, I think from Australia, it was made in Australia, like first, second, third generation, what comes next? That's the name of the documentary. So they show like the first generation of the devotees at times of Srila Prabhupada, then the second generation and the third generation, in terms of like the first generation, like being completely out from the world, you know, Then the second generation, like the struggle, like, to be in the world or not be in the world. No? And then now the third generations where, yeah, they are in the world, but still they are devotees, no? They have faith in Krishna and they are practicing Krishna consciousness the way, they can, and the way according to their faith, according to their nature, and like more adopted to the reality where it is. So what comes next? First, second, third generation, what comes next? So if we see all this development, like from the first years and the full surrender, then becoming like aware, okay, maybe we have to marry. Okay, we have to marry means, okay, we have to work and live from something. Okay, we have to learn to work and live from something means we have to learn also to work something, and so on and so on. So it seems like Krishna is pushing us. Even for us, sometimes talking all these topics was like, okay, instead of inspiring us, I had this experience, also personal experience is there, that several brahmacharis who were like brahmacharis for years, at the end of their, let's say, trajectory of brahmachari time, they came to stay with me. And at the end, then they get married or whatever, they admit to themselves like, okay, that's the experience which we have to go through in the life, no? So someone would mean, okay, no, I will go, stay there, and then the Swami, he will inspire me for renunciation or something like this, but actually the effect was always the contrary. That then at the end they like said, okay, no, now I have to admit to myself that this is actually what has to follow, Because I see this over the years, if we see, so the tendency is there in the whole movement, this tendency is there. And of course, on the individual level, also this tendency will be there. And this doesn't mean to abandon Krishna consciousness. This doesn't mean like, to fall. This doesn't mean like deviating and nothing. This just means like really to establish ourselves on proper ground. Because if we are not established on proper ground, then many challenges may be there. Many challenges may be there. And of course, as we said, Bhakti is independent, considering this, then we know any ugly thing which even can happen externally and like this, Bhakti is there. There is no any limitation that Bhakti is affected by it, by any external difficulties. Bhakti is independent, The holy name is pure. This will always work, But still, like being neglectful on balancing ourselves properly on this human side, you see, this can create then something which also can end up in Vaishnava parad and improper behavior within the community. Like, for example, one time Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was walking with some disciples and some beggars was there. And then one of the disciples asked Guru Maharaj, is it bad or is it wrong to sometimes feel compassion? And then he said, why sometimes? We should always feel compassion. And we should always be willing to help according to our capacity and according to the circumstances which are there. Because otherwise, if we are not living this compassionate nature, then our heart can become hard. And then the same hard heart can become the cause for Vaishnava parad. Because being in the community, then we will also behave in such a way. So we cannot exclude it. Actually, this is one of the principal tasks, for the human beings, to be compassionate, to be charitable, to be giving, No? Of course, how, to whom, when to give, etc. All this topic is there. No, but just with the pretext, no, I'm serving Krishna. I don't have to consider no others, no? Especially non-devotees or something like this. No, this won't help. So he corrected him. He said, why sometimes compassionate? He said, we have to be always compassionate, no? Because otherwise our heart will become hard. And this will be the cause for even creating Vaishnava Parad. No? So this, you see, this part as humans, no, has to be balanced. No? Because otherwise, when we go and enter into the community, into community life, no, then many problems we can create there. No? And that's what we saw also over the years. No? So now sometimes devotees are looking back and, many find many bad things which have happened and many reasons to complain about in the past. No? But if we see it from another perspective, what was possible? There was no other possibility. If you have young people, immature people, who came, then all of a sudden Srila Prabhupada is gone. Then all this big mission within all this dynamic, the only thing they had was the example of Srila Prabhupada, which then they all tried to follow, actually to imitate, not giving time to themselves and considering certain things like, going down to earth, which meant at that time, like, like falling down or something like this, No, fall down is just a result if you don't consider things on time and you don't adjust properly on time. So then you cannot expect any other thing. So in this way, it's not possible to jump over all these things. Krishna is forcing us. So now over the years, many experiences are there. Many even ugly stories are there. Many devotees who were hurt, in their experience within the community. Many who hurt themselves, because not being honest with themselves, being pushed by some group dynamics and so on. But all this just because there was not the proper understanding. I know one devotee, he, like many, he gave up his career, he joined the temple, then he got some inheritance, which was big. And of course, he gave everything to the temple, and it was just in the beginning, like after a short time after he got to know the devotees, like in this euphoric moment, Then after that came the reality, that actually he cannot live in the temple, but then his inheritance was gone. He disconnected from his professional life and so on. Still, he's somewhere around. But the thing he says, the only thing he says, I cannot somehow cure in myself is why there was no one, to tell me that I may change, that my perspective may change at some time. Because they saw others also going through the euphoric moment, of dedication and surrender, which actually was not dedication and surrender, which was in most of the cases false renunciation. They saw so many others, but no one told me, like to give me some alert, it could happen. So that's what he's still struggling with. But now we have a lot of experience, many years and many examples and like this. And of course we are learning and it's going on. Of course, nowadays there is no, not this environment like before, being in the temple with Krishna, being outside of temple in Maya. Okay, you can be in the temple with Krishna and outside in the temple of Krishna with Krishna. And the other way around also we see you can be in the temple in Maya and outside, of course, also. So inside, outside doesn't mean anything. I mean physically temple or not, but inside and outside of community, inside and outside of association and proper association, this means everything. So we need this mature environment. We need the proper guidance, as I said before, of teachers. Teachers means commitment is there. Not just, just the other day, one devotee told me, very nice, I can listen. He was listening to someone, he said, but I can listen like this, like in person, or I can listen in the YouTube. It doesn't matter, nothing changes, because I cannot establish a relationship to the one who's speaking. Of course, this is there. Many things can be spoken, but we need this. Each and every one of us, we need really this personal relationship, this personal guidance. Someone who will listen to us, and someone who can clear our doubts, and someone who can give us mature advice how to behave, how to do, what to do, in all these different tasks which are there, and challenges, of being a human, in the challenges of being an aspiring devotee, within the world, of being aspiring devotee within the community, So all these are different spheres of experiences, which are necessary that we go through. Just looking away, as we said before, from the previous ones, this will not help. So in this way, we need this very much personalized relationship. And of course, this is coming up with many other topics. We are just like little bit jumping here and there, touching on some points related to this, but actually the main topic, which then will come up, how to relate, how to be in this proper devotional environment. What means favorable devotional environment. So therefore, I appreciate very much also the name, this Tadatmya, which was given to this effort of associating and this Sangha, like associating on this very personal, deep level, like considering each other, being aware of each other, and being also aware of the compatibilities, which are there. Because this will open then many, many challenges. But as we said, first this ABC, we have to be properly set there. We have to be properly balanced there. Because if this is not there, okay, then we can jump into the adventure of pretending to be someone, or overly idealizing someone to be someone actually he's not, and over idealizing circumstances, and so on. This is a big topic, and everyone has to go through his own experiences. But this is the way we feel. Okay, that's the exit. Don't look there, just go on and advance. But it's good that Krishna is showing us, okay, first do now what you have to do, and then later on go on. And one time I heard from one disciple of Srila Siddhar Maharaj, he said nicely, he said, our Guru Maharaj used to say, why to rush if the process as such is already so nice? No need to rush. Means process is nice. You can associate with the devotees, you can have community with the devotees, you can practice with them. You can have this task and this challenge of becoming honest with yourself, with others, and so on. And from this, everything else will be included. Everything else will be included. The proper association will come, the proper input will come, but we have to do our part. We have to do our effort also. Just running here and there, this is also the nowadays the trend. You have to go to the big devotee. You have to go to this acharya. You have to go to the rasikas. This is there. The scriptures are giving all this and appreciation, but we have to know how to appreciate properly. We have to know how to behave properly. With which attitude we are going there, how to approach. Just going doesn't mean that we will get the answers actually automatically, because certain things, we can learn even better with those who are a little bit closer to us and who have some experience, similar experience to us. Not necessarily great devotees there, but their experience is different. If Krishna wants some match there to happen, by mystic arrangements, yoga maya, everything is there. But still we need to go also step by step, these experiences and realizations. One time we had a interesting experience. We went to one very learned and by many considered a very advanced Vaishnava. So we went there and to ask for recommendation. Maharaj, how to deal with homosexuals in the temple? So he said, what is this? So we said, this is the attraction of the same gender. And then his answer was, this doesn't exist. And if this exists, he said, you have to kill this. Jai Maharaj. So of course, if we will say, no, you have to obey, by the sadhu's word, directly and, without any deviation and like this, So what does it mean now? I have to do it like this. I have to go and kill. What does it mean? I have to consider him now. No, he's not sadhu. This would be the other also way around, which we can really commit grave offenses. But we have to know what is this relative field, what is the field of experience, cultural and human, etc., and to know how to separate all this. If not, then so therefore we need to clear so many things on so many different levels, and Krishna is sending this help also for us, and helping also that we find this environment, because in the environment we need this, the environment where we can relate, where we can properly relate to each other, and in this way advance. So yeah, so this is now, I think, 1 hour already passed, and as I said, we were jumping a little bit here and there, touching on certain points, which of course we cannot say, okay, this is the solution, rather maybe just opening to doubt even more on certain things, which is actually necessary, because we have to learn it, as it is said, no one has to learn swimming in the water. So now we have to learn also to swim in all these circumstances and realities, and first of all now to recognize them and to see them, to admit to ourselves, okay, this is the reality which we have to deal with. So I'll not extend myself anymore. So we'll leave it here. And of course, if someone wants to contribute something more with some comment, question to this regard, whatever, we still have some time, I think.
So thank you very much for sharing all of that, Swami Maharaj. And it seems like even though you touched on many different aspects, it seems like a woven thread throughout the whole thing is that how we have to recognize the effect of filters that we bring into our experience of things. You started even in the beginning speaking of the different letters of the languages of what we read. And I think that also, it's about the essence seeking, so knowing that we have, actually accepting the fact that we have filters, and that these filters affect what we see, what we understand, and what we experience as reality. And how that also relates to how we see our elders and our gurus, and to be able to see that, to filter out what you were saying at the end, the history, the society that they are going to, their own personalities, and to know that these filters aren't a defect to in their bhakti practice, but that it is something that's there, and to be able to accept and to recognize that. And I find within myself that it's amazing each time I'm shown, a particular filter that I'm looking through. I mean, those are like the aha moments for me, when I can see, wow, yeah, I just totally was conceiving this in the wrong way because of my past experiences, what I consider to be true. And I think that's so amazing when we're shown these filters that we have, and then we can allow them to be released and to have a clearer and closer picture. So I really appreciate you weaving that throughout the entire sharing that you gave today. And also the difference between teachers and preachers, that was also significantly touching to me. I really value that point. So many people. And I think the Sangeet has a question.
Haribol Maharaj, I'm happy to meet you. I'd love to hear more about your work and how to stay in touch, perhaps. You could put something in the chat, perhaps, how we can connect. And I've had an experience recently of, I loved how you talked about the uniqueness and the needs of individuals that come. You know what I mean? We're all so different, like snowflakes. No one two are alike. So I've had an experience recently with my health, and I've had some health issues just the past year. Otherwise, pretty good health rest of my life. But in the last year, I've gone through a lot, had a lot of tests, did allopathy, and it's been frustrating and not very successful. Recently, I came in touch with a homeopathic doctor who has a different attitude and mood about health and healing. And they look at the whole person, everything, what are phobias, everything, which makes sense. If we're going to heal, we have to look at the individual and their makeup. And I'm so much better after just 6 weeks of this man's care and these little sugar pills. Homeopathy is very strange, but I mean, I'm so much better, significantly. Bhakti Ras knows how sick I was. I was in the hospital. So I'm thinking, I like that your emphasis was on that. I love your mood, that unique individual and how to relate to different people, meet people where they're at, not lay on them what they should be. Just being able to be accommodating, become a friend. As Sadananda Swami has said, becoming a close friend. I just want to be friends with people and share with them what I found to be so helpful. So I love your mood, and I'd love to know more, and hopefully stay connected.
Thank you for sharing your experience. And yeah, my point is that I'm usually speaking in Spanish. I cannot even remember when was my last talk in English, I guess quite some years back. So usually what we do, actually I came now even to Austria since 2020. I got stuck in this lockdown in Delhi, and so I could only come back to Austria. And since then I stayed here, which is actually a German-speaking environment, but I continued to work in Spanish. So, so this is a challenge for me also a little bit to jump, you know. Then one thing which I discovered, which is actually also a very interesting topic. I was born in Germany, but actually my family is from Bosnia. So my mother tongue is Bosnian, you know. And I've always used German for many years, no, and never my mother tongue. And with the devotees also never, just German and then Spanish and some English like this, no. And then I discovered actually, which is a big topic, no, devotees are a little bit dogmatic also about this. I was recently also in Orissa, actually last year, in Kartik, and I accompanied the devotees there through the villages of Orissa. And they have, during the Kartik, they have these Bhagavata programs, like in the villages, and many people coming, you know. And they, of course, speak their local language. And of course, they sing their local songs in their local language, you know, in their mother tongue, you know. So one Maharaj who was there, I was accompanying him, you know, he said, you see, and he's a Sanskrit scholar, and he speaks Bengali, everything, he's a great scholar. He said, but you see, in our mission, sometimes they don't believe, and they even criticize me, you know, because he wrote even some songs in Oriya language, you know, like not promoting like the Sanskrit. He said, but this is the village people, you know, they don't speak Sanskrit. That's the only way how they can relate to. And you know, and then I told him, Maharaj, it's very interesting because I also went through the same experience. And even scientifically, this is there, like very serious studies on this, that our emotional level, our emotions, actually we can access them only through the mother tongue. You know? Like going through other languages, it goes more onto the intellectual level. But through the mother tongue, we can access better this internal part. You know? So also we have, in the places where I used to stay with the devotees, we have also translations of the Vaishnava songs in local languages, in Spanish, in German, in Hungarian, in Bulgarian, you know. And their devotees, they cannot relate to it. They say like, no, no, this is nothing, no, this is not proper, and this is, you know. But of course, we have proof for it, starting from the Srimad Bhagavatam. No, you can find, I think it's 11th or 12th chapter. You can find there that one can and one will express his prayer through his own mother tongue. No, we have the example of Srila Prabhupada, who translated even some songs and gave the example, translated some songs into English and encouraged the devotees. We have from Srila Siddhar Maharaj also the encouragement to do it. We have also from Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj the encouragement to do it. You know? Like there were some devotees from the south of India. So they came to me and said, Guru Maharaj, you know, when we sing the Bengali songs, then they're making fun of us. The local devotees, they don't feel good because they see that the devotees sometimes making fun of their pronunciation and so on. No? So then he told them, okay, then translate the songs into your mother tongue and sing. So this we see from Bhagavatam, and we see from different acharyas, this was encouraged, you know. But many devotees, they have a big difficulty with this, you know. Even you see in the Hindi-speaking world, you know, nowadays, like the main pillar of the spirituality there is this Tulsidas Ramcharitamanas, which was written in one Hindi dialect, so they can relate to it. It's the main pillar of spirituality of this whole part of India there. But when he did this, they even wanted to kill him. Even though he was also a Sanskrit scholar, but he felt this need to transmit it in this way. But the others, they say, no, no, you're doing wrong, you are destroying the culture, and so on. So it seems to be something which is coming through, through the ages also now to our present time. Just the funny thing here is that those who even very often don't speak Bengali language, and they are defending this, that you cannot change and you cannot make the things more understandable and more approachable. So this is the also one other part of our human nature actually, but which has to do very much with which also how we develop in devotional terms, like being able also like to relate also through our mother tongue. So yeah, and also related to what Bhaktirasa says, also this filters and being aware of filters. What helped me personally very much is when I moved and stayed for extended time in South America. So it was like going, Krishna is the same, and Nama is the same, and process is the same, but the culture, the environment, and the dynamics is something completely different. So there I was very much aware, I was confronted, with my own filters so clearly, that I had to work very, very deeply on it, like to make myself understandable and also to understand others, to be possible. It's otherwise very, very difficult, Like you see in the past, there was this experience of the devotees. Therefore, they also, many complained, like after Srila Prabhupada left, and then those who were in charge, So South America was another world, so to say, little bit different than Europe and different than USA. But those who were like in charge of the preaching there were actually mostly North Americans, means with a certain cultural background, social background, economic background, and so on. So they would go there, for example, and stay 2-3 days. Okay, stay in their room, come out, give the class, inspire the preaching and so on. And after that, they would leave. But the local devotees sometimes had to work like a whole month just to collect to pay the phone bill, because for them was okay, it's like calling from here to this and that, and so, but the local devotees, with their own like economic reality, which is there, they had to work so much just to pay the phone bill for the 2 or 3 days. It's just an example. If we are like culturally, we don't like adjust to where we go, and so it can create many difficulties. And of course then relationship will be difficult also, and of course then the local devotees, they rebelled against all these dynamics which were there, because they felt themselves like not taken for serious, like misunderstood, even exploited, even sometimes humiliated, because there was even one of the leaders of that time who called the South Americans Sudra Americano. Sudra Americano means Sur Americano means South American. But he would call them Sudra Americanos because if you go there, you'll see like the people are generally not so much intellectually inclined. It's like a different nature, different setting. Of course, there are many intellectual devotees and people there also, but the general mood is like more like the good feeling and the enthusiasm and so on. So this was the way how to relate to them. So you can imagine someone speaking like this to other devotees. So what will be the type of relationship, and what will be the type of the response from the other side? So you see, Prabhupada is there, Krishna is there, Nam is there, everything is there, but it must be a way, a proper way how to relate. And it's not just like the lack of humility, which we would say, but this is like a much deeper thing, you know, like to culturally adjust, you know. And we cannot make like a unified Krishna conscious culture, because it's also another great illusion, you know? Some think still it's possible to do, but you know, same like before we said, no, speaking about Vedic marriage is one thing, but seeing the reality is another thing. So same way, also thinking about unified Krishna consciousness is one thing, but seeing the reality actually. So we will have to see, no, what comes next, means in which direction all this will go and how things will adjust. And I would say it's a very interesting time, you know, to consider all these things. And but of course we should never lose this first, what we said, no, the position of the Nam, the Guru Tattva position, you know, the independence of bhakti, you know, this should be our firm faith should be put there, you know? Because otherwise it becomes difficult. Also, some devotees who don't have this faith, who don't keep this faith, but they've spent some time with the devotees in the community and so on. So then all this discussion like goes like it's a never-ending story of just speaking about, you know, bad experiences and like this. So it won't help anyone, not the one who speaks, nor the others who participate there or something like this. It's necessary a completely different approach to this, no? But this is also now a big tendency there, so we should be quite careful with this also. And yeah.
When you were speaking, I was also, I was seeing this connection between how it was with Srila Prabhupada. You spoke of like kind of like the magic of those beginning years. And it seems like it could really be tied into relationship again. Because what those devotees experienced for the first time, as he said, was being accepted for who they were. And that was due to the personal relationship that they were able to have with Srila Prabhupada. So that seems to be like the key. And then as the movement grew larger, then devotees were more separated from that personal exchange with Srila Prabhupada. So it seems like now the return, the healing of that, the kind of bringing back, you know, but it's the healing. It's again that personal relationship and how to relate one-on-one, how to solve the big problems by our individual participation with each other, developing a sense of connection and acceptance and receptivity, giving each other a place to grow. And that beautiful example you gave of the womb with the umbilical cord. Both things need to be there, the space to grow and the nurturance from without.
Yeah, therefore we have to think more like very much locally, no, like really where we are and with whom we associate, and this is the major part now, you know. Of course, global things are there, and we have to have this idea also, but the actual place where we are, where we relate to, it's like the local community and the very specific devotees with whom we relate. So like we have now, we changed a little bit our approach. Those devotees who are there with me somehow related. So we call it now Seva Sanghas. No, we don't give it any like name, okay, this mission or that mission or whatsoever. We call it Seva Sangha. Seva Sangha means this is a very specific Sangha on a very local level. People who come together have Sangha for the purpose of doing Seva, no? So that's like the approach which we came to conclude. This is actually the healthy approach, no? These are the Seva Sanghas, and of course associations of devotees, they can relate to others on some other level, more internationally whatsoever, but everything should be like very, very, very much local. And also those who go to preach, as we said before, preaching is a little bit difficult, the term, but we saw this also, in the name of preaching, actually, we saw some distortion or even disturbance, better say, in the local communities, Means if those who are going to preach, they don't go to, contribute for the local community, but they go with their own personal agenda through there, then actually this creates more disturbance. So this is all what we have to deal with. Is common challenges there and so on from the past, but also in the present. And yeah, we are learning. So that's the process where we learn and where we can share and hopefully advance in this way. Okay. So yes.
I just wanted to say that there's a like this saying that people don't care what you know till they know that you care. So I
Yes.
like that very much. And I think about like the real relationship between a spiritual master and a disciple. I mean, it was very much, it's historically very personal, right? Traditionally, and you stay with the spiritual master, he guides you, you have this interaction. And of course, we didn't have that because Prabhupada's movement became so big, so quick. Even though I came in 73, it was already so formal and distant. So, and then we were dependent on that guidance from temple presidents and other so-called authorities who were themselves not so evolved or mature. But even just receiving a personal relationship and having that guidance, it makes such a difference. So I just think that's got to be the thrust now, is that individually we work with people and we are there for them in an unconditional kind of way, accepting and guiding and setting a good example, so I think, thinking, like you said, act locally, think globally. I don't, they said saying, but very much acting locally and very personally with people to help them along their path, wherever they're at, seems to be what might be pleasing to Krishna, just that very personal touch. And I know that Padmanabha Swami is stressing that, and I've learned so much, and I'm so excited about this whole thing. After being a devotee for 50 years, to be able to have this during my lifetime even, I feel very blessed and excited. I have this new excitement about Bhakti-yoga again, like I had in the beginning, because of this thrust, this new angle, this new thing that's developing. And I find that amazing.
Beautiful.
Haribol.
Haribol. Okay, so I think we can close here and wish you all the best in your devotional efforts wherever you may be, and yeah, hope to meet somewhere, someone, somehow again. Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you again for this, and thank you everyone for joining us. And I hope this will just be the beginning to your English classes. Once again, hopefully you'll join us and share with us more. I appreciate you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And just a quick announcement, next Thursday will be Spanish Istagosti with Swami Padmanabha. And then also on next Saturday will be English Istagosti with Swami Padmanabha on Zoom and YouTube.
Hari Hari Bol.
And
Thank you.
Maharaj, could we get your contact information? Did you put that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll write it here. It's in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm trying to see how to get out from the Zoom.
I will end it. I will end the call.
Yeah. Oh, I can up here. Oh, on the corner.
Also, vielen Dank, Pranams und liebe Grüße an Prem Kishore.
Haribol.